Welcome back to In the Practice Room with Ian Scarfe. I am Ian, this is me, seated at the piano bench, and this is part 2 of Stravinsky's Petrushka, featuring the Cruz Symphony. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, you may want to check that out first. It is full of the history of this ballet, the context of Stravinsky's music in the early 20th century, and an in-depth look at the famous Russian dance from part 1 of the ballet.
Everything I teach.
That's my knuckles right there.
I was telling my students, our hands should look like our hands.
Yeah.
Today we're going to focus on the second part of this ballet, the scene called Petrushka's Room. Now, Petrushka, if you remember, is a puppet, a clown-like, clumsy marionette puppet, who is a part of a sideshow at a Russian carnival. At the end of the first part of the ballet, we heard Petrushka and his fellow puppets, the Moor and the ballerina, entertaining the crowd by dancing that famous knuckle-busting Russian folk dance. In this second scene, Petrushka is unceremoniously booted into his room, really just a toy box of sorts where the puppets are kept. The music depicts the clumsy puppet stumbling around his room. Remember, he is no mere inanimate toy, but has been brought to life by the magician. It's in this scene where we find the music that first inspired Stravinsky to write this piece. As the story goes, Stravinsky was in Switzerland in 1910, working on a ballet for Diaghilev's Ballet Russe, one to follow up his famous hit, the Firebird. Diaghilev went to visit him to see how his ballet was progressing and found Stravinsky to be totally distracted by a piano piece he was working on. This piano piece revolved around a specific technique of playing in two different keys at the same time, and Stravinsky had chosen two keys that sound particularly jarring together, C major and F sharp major. Now the music reminded Diaghilev of the character of Petrushka, the Russian puppet with a history of performing at street fairs, and Stravinsky agreed to use this music for the basis of his new ballet, a ballet about Petrushka. Although it sounds clumsy and disjointed, the technique of playing these two keys at the same time is facilitated by the fact that C major chords are all on white keys and F sharp major chords are all on black keys. So Stravinsky's solution, and one of the techniques of this music, is to play with one hand entirely on the white keys and the other hand above entirely on the black keys. This combination of C and F sharp in this way has come to be known as the Petrushka Chord, and you can see it throughout the entire ballet, especially in the piano part. When Stravinsky decided to put this music in the ballet, he deliberately kept all of the piano parts he had been working on and worked them into the orchestra score. Apparently, he couldn't imagine Petrushka and the Petrushka Chord without the clatter of the piano part. And now this piece is famous for having one of the biggest and most challenging piano parts in all the symphonic repertoire. This scene in Petrushka's room is my favorite part, not only because of the big solo moments, but because of the more tender dance sections where the piano plays duets, trios, and quartets. with the flutes, bassoons, clarinets, and various instruments in the percussion section. Unfortunately for Petrushka, this second part ends in heartbreak. Near the end, the ballerina enters his room, and Petrushka is so overwhelmed with his nervousness around her that he dances even more clumsily, scaring her away. The heartbroken Petrushka collapses at the end of the scene. I wish I could say otherwise, but the poor puppet's story has a tragic ending. I hope you enjoyed these two videos about Stravinsky's incredible ballet, Petrushka. When I started this series of In the Practice Room videos, I imagined they would all be examining music that I'm practicing at home in my living room. So I'm very grateful to the Santa Cruz Symphony for inviting me to be a part of their season to perform this incredible piece. I'm also grateful to all of my practice room patrons who support this series and the rest of my career with regular contributions. You too can be a practice room patron for as little as $5 per month. That's like buying me a cup of coffee. Visit my website, ianscarfe.com, to learn more.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Let's go 2 before 108, just so that we see what it looks like, that transition. Thank you. I'm thinking the same thing. I didn't give a good one before, and that's what I'll do. Just disregard his, Petrushka getting sentimental over there. We're gonna take things away. Bravo.